everybody. Welcome to episode number 6. My name is Josh.
And I am Nick. The name of this episode is Rites.
So, Nick, tell the listeners about your day today.
Today, I had my very first root canal.
You sound like you're talking pretty good for having that happen.
Well, now I am. Now the Novocaine's worn off. She sure heard me try to get gas at the gas station earlier today. I told the guy I wanted $40 on 4, and he put in like $20. I'm like, no, I want $30. I want $30 for 4. It wasn't actually that bad. I've had a lot of dental work done to me in the past. And root canals, I would say, are arguably easier than getting a filling.
Still annoying.
It's longer, so it's annoying having to do it, but it wasn't that bad. The Novocaine really helped, and they told me that if I wanted to fall asleep in the middle of it, then it would be okay. And I said, there's probably no way I'm going to fall asleep in the middle of this. Sure enough, about 30 minutes later, I didn't fall asleep, but I very well could have. Yeah. It's very surprising. So it was an interesting experience.
So I had a cool comic book moment that happened that I'd like to share with you and the listeners. A couple months ago, I was sick, and so I took the day off from work. I had nothing to do but hang out on Twitter. So when I was on Twitter, Mirko Kolak, he's the artist for the new Turok Dinosaur Hunter book published by Dynamite. I'll get into the politics of that on some other show. Anyway, he was on Twitter and he said, tweet me if you want to be an extra in the comic. So I tweeted him back. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And he said, send me a picture. So I sent him a picture. And page 4, panel 3, there I am.
Oh, that's awesome! So, you have long hair.
Long hair again, yes.
Again, that's right. You haven't had long hair since high school.
Yeah, I had hair that long in high school. I did not wear a red bandana.
No. That red band. Oh my God, that is so funny. That is so cool.
So that's a very cool moment. I'm very excited about it.
You are in a comic book.
I am an extra in a comic book, yes. I'm hoping he'll be at New York Comic Con so I can get the books out.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Boniface, a worker in a voodoo museum in New Orleans, learns that his parents were not the law-abiding citizens that he thought they were. In anger, he throws the amulet his mother gave him before she died into the ocean. What Jack doesn't know is that the amulet is shrouding his identity from those who would do him harm. People like Mr. Twist, a flesh construct that is helping Master Dark escape from the dead side. 2 agents of Mr. Twist attack Jack, who then turns into the Shadowman. Alyssa and Dox, 2 people who are interested in protecting Jack and keeping Dark in the dead side, come to his aid. Doc and Alyssa teach Jack about magic just before Mr. Twist attacks the 3 of them. Jack and Alyssa escape to the dead side. Dox is captured by Mr. Twist. Jack meets his father, who gives him the chance to give up the burden of being Shadowman, but Jack throws away that chance to rescue Alyssa from the spirits of Deadside. Shadowman and Alyssa leave the dead side, rescue Dox from Mr. Twist, and prevent Dark from escaping to Earth.
The very first page or 2 of this comic, I felt like the people that we don't know who they are yet, we're declaring war of the dead. And who are you going to call? Ghostbusters!
Shadowman and the Abettors are the Ghostbusters?
Yes. So that's what I was thinking the very first 2 pages or 3 pages was Ghostbusters. Because I thought that they were fighting actual ghosts. Or I didn't, clearly I didn't know what these things were yet that they were fighting.
Well, so now we have our 5th Valiant story. We have another genre. Just like the 4 previous ones we've seen, they've all had their own kind of genre. This I would qualify as horror. It's light. It's horror light.
Okay, I'll go with that.
And the story does start in Valiant tradition with the flashback,
yeah,
as you were just talking about. I just want to say the very first page is absolutely stunningly beautiful with the stained glass in the background, and the way that Josiah, the Shadow Man, that version of the Shadow Man disappears into the shadows. The art throughout this whole book is actually really quite pretty.
Yeah, the art in this book is very, very nice.
It might be the best so far.
Everything's so detailed.
He has a lot of detail, yeah. So the story, that scene where you're talking about the Ghostbusters, it takes place in the Desire Projects, which is a real place in New Orleans. The Desire Projects, basically they built them and declared how run down they were within a year of them being built. If you go on Wikipedia, it's just a chronology of all the terrible things that have happened there.
Oh, really?
It's just not a nice neighborhood. It's at sea level, which is perfect for New Orleans.
Yeah.
Every place at sea level is doing really terrific in New Orleans. So I'm glad that I think it's cool that they put the story starting there, because pretty terrible what's happening at the beginning of the story. So that seems like a perfect place to have it happen.
And that guy's name is Darke.
Dark. No, it's dark.
I know it's dark, but I keep reading it as Darke.
Did you ever read it as dark when you read it?
Not at first. I mean, it took me a few times in my head to say, no, dark makes a lot more sense than Darke.
When I was a kid, I pronounced it Darku.
Darku. While the abettors, is that what they're called?
Sure.
Arbiters?
Abettors.
The abettors are fighting the ghosts or whatever they may be. Shadow Man comes out, Josiah, and it's here. I already know what his character is. He's there to exterminate the ghouls or the ghosts that I thought at that time. And I thought it was actually a really cool character design, that he is kind of designed. He looks like Death with a scythe, but he's the living Death. Death normally takes living souls and sends them back to Karen or whatever. But this is the complete opposite, and he still has a Death look to his face. And I thought that was actually kind of cool.
I think I'll get into this a little bit later. I think Josiah's character design is better than Shadow Man is better than Jack's character design as Shadow Man. I like his leather jacket. Pretty BA.
Body armor?
Yeah, body armor.
It's pretty body armor.
Pretty body armor.
And the first fight scene went really quick. I was, what happened? What did Dark do to try to hurt the protagonist or Shadow Man? He said, "You'll have to do more than that to kill me," or something like that. More than what? It went by so fast. I didn't really understand what was going on, and also I was not sure who was talking to who. I was a little confused.
I'm sure that they didn't want to spend a lot of time on a flashback.
I didn't know it was a flashback at that time.
Yeah, of course. When did you realize Dox was a little person?
Like at this panel right here, the one where he's standing at the door ready to knock on it. I knew that he looked a little short. I couldn't really tell if that was... I didn't know if that was deliberate or not, but as time went on, oh, okay, yeah, he's a little person.
So then we meet Jack, wearing the amulet. He works in a voodoo museum. He's the son of Josiah. He's trying to find out about his parents.
When we actually get the close-up of his parents, I was actually kind of scrutinizing over the what they did and what they were arrested for, and looking at their signatures, which was different, which I thought was a neat little touch. And I was really trying to scour and see if I could see anything on there that their parents did, but the panel just cuts it out too much, and his thumb is covering, what Josiah did. So, but I did see arson on there, but I didn't see murder. So apparently Josiah was arrested for murder. And then if we went forward a few more pages, there's the flashback to Jack with his mom, and his mom says all these things about his dad, and then it cuts back to the present, and he says that was the first lie she ever told me, and I wasn't sure what lie he was talking about. Like, was it what lie was it? That she was going back to work, or that his dad was good?
I think the lie is that she says, "I'll see you when I get off of work." She dies.
But how would she know that she was going to die?
Because she gave him the amulet.
But see, I took that as, okay, you're old enough to have this amulet now. So here you are. But that's actually not what was going on. She knew she was going to die, so she gave him the amulet to protect himself.
I guess she knew she was going to die. I'm with you.
And she didn't really tell him what the amulet did, which would have been a little beneficial.
That would have been helpful, yeah. I guess she didn't want to burden him with that.
I guess she didn't want to. But at the same time, you might want to tell him the importance of this amulet and not to lose it. But anyway, I went ahead a little bit, but because before that, we are met with holy death. This bar is just scattered with dead bodies everywhere, just maimed and torn and ripped apart, and they're hanging from their entrails, and holy crap.
So this story was co-written by Justin Jordan and Patrick Zurcher. Patrick Zurcher is the artist, and he helped with co-writing. Justin Jordan is known for his gross comic book moments. And this certainly qualifies as one of them. And Mr. Twist, in particular, is he cool? Is he gross? Is he weird? What is he?
I don't know what he is. You know what? Here, I said it last time when you handed this book to me. He reminds me of those bloody things in that anime Berserk.
Yep.
That's what I keep seeing him as. I don't know. I can't really make out what I think of him yet. He's very twisted. I was actually a little confused at why they call him Mr. Twist, because he calls himself Twist, but why did the cop say what kind of twist? To me, that felt a little forced.
Because the cop was going to say, what kind of twisted shit is this?
How do you know he was going to say that?
I just assumed. When you see two dashes after a word and a thought and a word balloon, that means they're being cut off.
Right.
Yeah.
But
no, honestly, when I read this, I finished that sentence every time I read it.
So is that why he calls himself Mr. Twist? Because that was what he heard?
No, I think that there is times in comics where there's a convenience of narrative. I call it the Peter David effect. So Peter David is a comic book writer, and he often ends a scene that has a very coincidental line that leads into the next scene. I just think it's Jordan or being cool.
A lot of TV shows and movies do that too, which I think is a great transition when they do things like that. Archer does that a lot. Yeah. When the scene changes when someone else is finishing their sentence for them, which I think is an awesome transition.
That may be why he calls himself Twist. I just thought it's because he's like just twist of flesh and muscle and eyeballs.
And by the way, I had this question for Mr. Twist as well, but actually it's spread out to many other things in this trade. What does that font mean when Mr. Twist is talking? I mean, I can visualize it as being a dark, gory type, menacing voice.
Yeah, so oftentimes different characters will have different fonts just to denote that they don't talk quite human.
Okay. But then there were the ghouls.
You can make that voice be what you want it to be.
Okay. I didn't know if like the squiggly word balloon meant something, if, like, the dotted line meant whisper.
No, it doesn't. It's just letting the reader know that this character sounds different than a person does.
Okay.
Just like the Vine have black word balloons, because it's just saying that they're different.
Okay, so is that the same for when the ghouls talk and when Dark talks and anyone else that has different fonts and word color balloons?
Yep.
Okay, because it's not just the word balloon color, but it's also the font that they use.
Yeah, Dark has a different font and color to his word balloon. Yep.
So that is just to signify that they are not sounding human, but they're still talking.
Yes.
Okay. Another comic book thing, I just don't know.
So Jack throws his amulet away because his mom never told him why he should keep it.
Yeah.
And there,
Stupid.
when he throws it away, on that page at the very bottom, the very last panel on that page has the Shadowman logo.
Yeah.
Cast on the ground.
I thought that was, and it's had another one too. When he's kneeling on the ground.
There's another time it's done. Yeah, I think that's a really nice touch.
I thought that was. I didn't see that first one that you just pointed out, but I saw the one where right after he got shot in the back.
And then Jack is attacked by those police officers who have turned into minions for Mr. Twist. And then he says Shazam and turns into Shadowman.
He does not say Shazam.
He doesn't, but that's how it feels to me. Oh, okay. You're all of a sudden wearing spandex. That's great.
You know, I had a question about him turning into Shadowman here too. Did he know he was Shadowman prior to Twist finding him?
No.
Because he didn't really seem to know.
He does,
or at least allude to knowing. Okay, so let's just go on assumption. If he knew he was Shadowman, surely he would have known what the amulet did. So he couldn't have known.
He doesn't know.
So how did he turn into Shadowman?
Because, well, there's Jack, and then there's the Loa that possesses Jack. He has the Loa in him because of his family line. This character is not Jack talking. This is the Loa taking over his body.
So the Loa and Jack is similar or analogous to Eric in Man of War. Or I should say Sean Hara.
I would think it's more close to Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll doesn't know what happens when he turns back, Dr. Jekyll.
But it's still the same person.
Still the same person, yeah.
So the Shadowman persona is still Jack. It's not a separate character like Sean Hara is.
Correct. There'll be times later where he talks to the Loa. That's a couple volumes from now. And I gotta be honest with you, when I first read this comic, this page is like, wow, how does he know he's Shadowman?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah, and the fact that he says, I'm Shadowman. It's like, first of all, do you even know who Shadowman is? And how do you use his powers? And apparently he just subconsciously used the Shadowman powers to get out of that situation that they were in. By the way, what's an abettor anyway?
An abettor?
Abettor.
The abettors are, there are two groups. You have the abettors and the brethren. The abettors are the good guys, quote unquote, who are protecting Shadowman. The brethren are helping Master Dark.
Okay, so they're two factions against each other?
Correct. Yeah. So the next issue begins with them explaining the magic, that it's actually not magic, that it's science, and this page is Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Talk about Full Metal Alchemist. What is Full Metal Alchemist, and compare it to what you read here? I'm very interested in this.
All right. Full Metal Alchemist is about two brothers on their quest to get their bodies back. It sounds strange, I know, but in the world of Full Metal Alchemist, citizens and civilians alike are able to use a type of magic called alchemy. This requires the user to draw an alchemic circle to conjure up whatever it is they like. This alchemic circle is extremely similar to what the Vives are that Dox was drawing or etching onto the bullet. The user is able to conjure up virtually anything they like, be it a doll or a bed, clothing, fix a radio, make a door, build a wall. If someone is trapped under a pile of rocks, the user of alchemy will be able to disintegrate those pile of rocks into rubble or dust and therefore free the person. Using alchemy, the user is able to do anything he or she wants to do. But there's a price. Using alchemy is not for free, but not in the terms of paying money. The user actually has to use a material of equal value in order to get the results that they desire. So if they wanted to make a doll, they would need to provide just a pile of cloth and string, and therefore you use that cloth and string to construct the doll. Or suppose your car has been totaled. Then the person could fix the car and make it look new, but the cost is using the existing metal on the totaled car, thereby making the car's frame a little bit thinner and probably a little bit more delicate than it was before. Maybe a little more apt to breaking, but you still have a brand new car. There's one taboo that a user of alchemy is not supposed to do, and this is what the brothers did. They attempted to bring their mother back from the dead. This failed miserably. Even though it failed, they still had to pay a heavy price. One brother literally paid an arm and a leg. He's now missing half of his limbs. The other brother lost his entire body, and before he lost his soul, the other brother was able to affix his soul to a full body armor. So he's now a walking, talking piece of hollow body armor. Really neat. These two brothers are on their quest to find the Philosopher's Stone, which allows them to bypass the equal value rule, and then hopefully if they find the Philosopher's Stone, then they are able to get their bodies back. Awesome series, very popular. There's two different versions of the story. There's the original one, and then there's the Brotherhood one, which follows the manga a lot closer. Manga basically means comic in Japan. That's the story of Full Metal Alchemist.
Do you feel that the way that show uses alchemy is very similar to this?
Yeah, especially when he's imbuing the tip of this bullet with the Vive, and he also did it on his own body. And that's,
with the tattoos.
With the tattoos, and that's what they did in Full Metal Alchemist as well. And they both do very similar things. The tattoos on Dox's body kept Mr. Twist from being able to intrude on him, and which very possibly could have happened in Full Metal Alchemist. That's not why they used it in that series. It was for a different purpose. But also they've they could put any of those alchemic circles on anything that they wanted to, and make it whatever they wanted it to be.
So issue 2 has my favorite scene in the whole trade. I love the scene where where Mr. Twist is getting fitted for this.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Very white suit, which of course would get wrecked with the
with all the
flesh blood. But I just love the contrast of this crazy looking thing wearing such a nice white suit.
But it also makes him look more sinister.
It does. It's the Mr. Twist design is great. It's fantastic.
This Mr. Twist is kind of in that realm of Archer and Armstrong in terms of dark humor. And then we turn the page right after Mr. Twist is getting his suit, and Jack wakes up, and he's looking in the mirror. And I just had another observation, like I do every now and then, but his arm is missing. And where one arm is missing, the other hand is not the same as it is in the mirror.
Oops. So Master Dark is in the dead side, and he confronts his teacher, and he kills his teacher. And so I'm wondering, how can you kill something that's already dead? Isn't everything in the dead side dead?
Good question. I did not think of that.
I don't know the answer to that.
I didn't really feel too bad for the teacher because I have no idea who the teacher is.
Oh, I didn't feel bad for him either. I just was curious how something dead could die.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe the dark is that powerful.
You could kill something permanently.
What do you think about Master Dark?
I don't know enough about him.
Okay.
I know he's supposed to be the main antagonist, and he's the big boss, even more so than Mr. Twist, because Mr. Twist reports to him. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know what he's doing. I'm not feeling his evilness yet.
Okay. It's pretty scary looking.
Yeah, he's creepy looking. He's got scars on his head. No pupils. He has some, but they're kind of shaded and whitish. So, if we go forward the next few pages, we have Alyssa showing Jack the magic on her hand. Her hand is turning into fire. And then she tells him, I could show you the magic, or you can kind of go on believing that none of this is true. It was around here where I made another comparison. I compared this story to The Matrix. I first noticed it with the little leech thing that Mr. Twist shot out at the two cops. And that kind of reminded me of the little crawly bug that went into the Neo's gut. Some other similarities was Jack wakes up from what he thought was a dream, but then someone comes to explain to him it wasn't a dream. Alyssa offers Jack an ultimatum, either truth or fiction. Again, a Matrix, the red pill versus the blue pill.
Blue fire.
Blue fire, yes. And then once he accepts the truth, she brings Jack back to the lab to meet, the other personnel, which is only Doc's at this point. There may be more, I don't know. There's also two other worlds where beings are living in. There was another ultimatum later on in the story where Jack needs to pull the scythe out of the shadow or don't. Don't get me wrong. I mean, similarities happen no matter what. I'm not trying to bash or belittle the story. It's just because I watch movies, I turn these pages into movies in my mind, and therefore I just end up making these comparisons. And it's just how I help make myself understand what is happening.
I think there are a lot of similarities to The Matrix. I'm with you. So Jack and Alyssa enter the dead side, and they get separated. Jack meets my second favorite character in this story after Mr. Twist, Jaunty the monkey.
Jaunty the monkey, he's a weird character.
Yeah, I love him.
I didn't really get too much from him either.
Yeah, they're being vague. There's a lot of vague in this.
It's like, where did he come from? He's living in the dead side. So is he alive or is he dead? Who is he? Why is he talking? Where did he come from? How is he living there? He's 300 years old. I have lots of questions about this thing. Why is he wearing a top hat?
Because it's awesome looking.
So many unanswered questions about Jaunty. But Jaunty, as is pretty cool. But I can feel that he's going to be a recurring character, either that or be one of those characters that's very ambiguous on which side he's on. If we go forward a few more pages, now we have Jack meeting Shadowman face to face. And it turns out that the Shadowman that he is facing is his dad, or at least I'm assuming is his dad. They never really say that, but it's pretty much a given that it's father and son meeting.
I thought there was no question that it was his father.
It was pretty clear. Shadowman, after he sticks the scythe into the shadow and gives Jack a choice, he explains what a Loa is. But I still don't understand what a Loa is. What's a Loa?
So the Loa is the spirit that possesses Jack.
The Loa is the spirit that possesses Jack. However, there's more than one Loa.
Sure.
Who else does the Loa possess?
The Loa isn't one thing. The Loa is a way of saying spirit in Haitian voodoo culture.
Oh, so it's a real thing. It's not something they made up for the book.
Correct. All these words that are foreign to us, Loa, Vives, these are all part of voodoo culture.
Okay, so voodoo has a very strong theme in this storyline.
Yes.
I was not aware of that.
One of the criticisms of this book is that it didn't feel like it was set in New Orleans. I actually kind of take issue with that. I think that there are lots of things in this story that are very specifically New Orleansian. Nolans. That's how they say it.
Nolans.
Well, that's how they say it with a Connecticut accent.
I guess I just didn't understand because it sounded like the Loa is what gives him the will to fight, but it also gives him the strength to fight.
Loa is not a word that I knew before, and I looked it up. Vives is not a word that I knew before, and I looked them up.
So it's a spirit that possesses him, and more specifically, the Shadowman persona is the Loa.
I would agree with what you just said. Yes.
So if I were to, so the Loa is another way of saying Shadowman.
Yes. Yeah, or at least the powers of Shadowman.
So the Loa, so Shadowman's powers are because of the Loa.
I think so. Yes.
Okay, it's just this whole thing is just confuses me. I don't understand, but I guess that helps a little bit.
One of the questions I have is how much does the Loa understand, and why doesn't the Loa understand everything that's going on? Because there's times where the Loa seems to know, oh, it knows that it's Shadowman, and there are other times in the story where it doesn't seem to have a clue as to, when he's in the Shadowman persona, he doesn't seem to have a clue what's going on. So that confuses me.
Mm-hmm. So then how did he turn into Shadowman early? Okay, so that's the question I had earlier. But how did he turn into Shadowman earlier if he didn't know how to do it in the first place? And now he goes and sees his dad, and his dad pretty much tells him, this is how you do it. And now he turns into Shadowman, and he's like, all right, now I'm set, let's go. Let's go, Alyssa. I'm going to come save you. The first time must have just been a fluke for him. It was just a subconscious thing where he turned into Shadowman. But
he was being threatened, so that that might be true. When you're threatened, you can do things. When people are threatened, they can do things that are beyond what they think they're capable of.
Yeah, that's got to be what happened when he turned into the Shadowman the first time. But the fact that he knew he was Shadowman, it's got to have been the Loa speaking for him.
I agree. Yep.
Okay.
So to go along with your Matrix theme, by the way, Shadowman seems to heal Alyssa with a kiss.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that part as a comparison, but you're right.
So then we have the scene with the heads of the brethren.
Oh, the boring part. Politics, just scenes like this, no matter what medium, bores me.
It's only 2 pages.
I know, but man, actually, I really like the intro of the brethren. I could hear the narrator and the characters talking in that scene, and I thought it was really cool. Other than that, it was a boring scene for me. I mean, I still understand what was going on, but I was just kind of reading like, okay, next scene.
So now we have our 5th title, and we have another group
of the sect.
I don't know if they're sect. I feel like this story isn't run so much this way, but it's like, oh yeah, let's just throw in the conspiracy here.
I don't understand what their whole purpose is. I didn't get it.
I wrote in my notes, what are their goals? I don't know. What reason would they have to wanting Master Dark to come back to Earth? I don't know.
And what is Mr. Twist doing for the Almighty? Is the person he's working for, is it Mr. Dark, or is he a minion of Satan? That's the way I took it at first, but I guess now Dark is the actual Lord of Darkness that he's actually working for. What are their goals? What are they trying to do that's never explained? It's just, hey, we're here and we're going to come back. Oh, crap, here's Shadowman out to take us out. What are they fighting for? Both sides.
So for a boring page, we just spent a lot of time on it. I guess it wasn't that boring.
I guess not. There's a lot more to it. Picture says 1,000 words.
So we learned that in the final confrontation between Shadowman and Mr. Twist, that Mr. Twist isn't necessarily the villain, he's the spell.
Yeah, that confused me too. How is he the spell?
I don't know.
He's the spell of what?
He's like the gateway. I don't. It's for Dark to get in. I don't know. So
is he the link between both worlds?
I don't know. This was what I thought when they were saying that sequence. I was thinking, oh, what a twist! just like M. Night Shyamalan. It's a twist from Mr. Twist, and it doesn't make sense. It's a perfect M. Night Shyamalan ending. So Master Dark fails. He doesn't get back to Earth. Mr. Twist is destroyed, and Shadowman saves Alyssa and Dox. Happy ending.
Okay. Happy ending.
But Master Dark is still mad. He wants to come back.
Why does he want to come back? What is his goal? They need to explain what his goal is. What do you want to do in the real world, Dark? I don't understand your reasons. Tell me. I need to know. And now he's working with Jaunty the monkey. Who is Jaunty working for? What's his deal? Why did he call Dark Hoss? He calls everybody Hoss, apparently. But we already talked about that. And what does this mean? Who is Jaunty? I just don't know who he is. He is, like I said earlier, he's got to be one of those ambiguous characters like Mr. X on the X-Files, where you don't know what side he's working on.
I gotta say, your painkillers must be working pretty good. You went on quite an epic yelling rant there, and your mouth must be hurting from your.
I don't feel anything.
Dental work.
Don't feel anything. Josh called me up earlier and was wondering how I was doing, wondering if we could do this podcast, and I said that I couldn't really talk any louder than a conversation level because I couldn't open up my jaw very much, and apparently the painkiller's making it so that I can actually open up a little more than I thought I could.
So Easter eggs?
I got none! Woo!
Easter eggs. So I think this is what we should do for Easter eggs. When I say Easter eggs, I want, in the background, I want a guitar riff. Easter eggs!
All right.
So we're going to do it two ways, and we'll let the listeners decide. I'm going to say Easter eggs, which is just going to be blank, and then I'm going to say it, and you're going to put some little guitar riff behind it, and we'll see how they sound. So here's the first one. Easter eggs! And then the second one. Easter eggs! Easter eggs! So I have two. There's a scene where they're listing off all the former Shadowmen, all the generations of Shadowmen, and one of the ones that they say is who says that? Is it Mr. Twist who's doing that? Oh no, the Loa's saying it to him. Oh, I didn't get that till just now. The Loa here is speaking to him.
Oh, look at that! The word balloons are coming from the Loa.
Yeah.
So I didn't even notice that.
So at the end of the first issue, I thought it was like one of the demons speaking, but looking at it now, it's the Loa. The Loa is saying, "Yes, the amulet hid you for so long, host. I should have gotten this. So long apart we are lost, son of Marius, son of Julian, son of Maxim." Here's the catchphrase. In the original Valiant universe, there was Maxim St. James. He was one of the Shadowmen. I think it's really cool that they just threw his name in like that.
I didn't know who these names were. I thought I thought that maybe it was going to be some kind of a throwback to the original Valiant universe, or if it was just going to be names of people who worked on this.
What's cool about this page, besides the fact that I now see it as the Loa grabbing hold of him, which I should have seen before. That really frustrates me. We learned that Shadowman is a generational thing. That there are...
Like the Avatar.
Yes, like the Avatar. In the second issue, when Jack wakes up in his apartment, in the background there's a saxophone.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
He likes jazz? Because you got this singer right here. Okay.
In the original Valiant universe... Jack Boniface was a jazz musician who played saxophone. So that was cool that was in the background. And actually, one more quick one in Nick's boring page here, where we're introduced to the Brethren. The head of the political wing of the Brethren is Leland Page, and that is also a callback to the 1990s version of Shadowman. There was a character named Leland Page, so that's pretty neat.
What did that character do?
He was the head of an organization that was very similar to the KKK. It was called Hate, and he didn't like black people.
Oh, jeez. That's awful.
Judgy part of the show?
Judge part of the show, Image.
Let's talk about covers. What's your favorite cover, Nick?
All right. It was, first of all, there's one that's just completely black.
It's actually not completely black. So the pull box cover to issue number 1, you can't tell from the JPEG that I sent you, but if you hold the cover in your hand, you can very lightly see the image from the first issue.
Oh, you know what? I think I remember you talking to me about that one many moons ago, about the black cover, now that you mention it. And I think, did you show it to me?
I probably did, yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool cover. It's very collectible.
There's a lot of neat covers the first few series of issues. Like one of them, this green and black one, kind of reminded me of the Riddler from Batman for some reason.
That's the 1 in 25 variant for issue number 2.
Yeah,
by Johnson.
And then there was another interesting one. Was this one that's kind of psychedelic? Also
by Johnson, the 1 in 25 variant for number 3, the Mr. Twist logo cover.
And even the black and white one by Zurcher.
That's the issue number 2 second printing of the regular cover.
With the navy blue coloring of Shadowman.
This was their first, so they did a bunch of reprint covers, and they did them entirely in black and white. This was the first cover that they did where they put a little splash of color in the reprint and in the second printing.
So it was a tie-up between this one with the black and white and the blue.
The second printing to number 2.
Yeah, or this one, or the Mr. Twist one.
The Mr. Twist one?
I decided to go with the Mr. Twist one as my favorite because it is very original. It's not your typical type of cover. It's got a little bit of a fun kind of twist to it, actually. And I say that with no pun intended, seriously. But it's just, I like it because it's just a little bit different than every other cover that there is that I've seen so far.
Guess what, Nick?
Do we have our first match?
We have our first match! That's my favorite cover, too. I was really excited to get this variant. I have this variant, and I love it. This is my favorite cover. I would like to give honorable mention, though, to the 1 and 50 variant to issue number 1 by Bill Sienkiewicz. He's a prolific artist who's been drawing for years. This cover is particularly special for me. It's a rare cover. Valiant Comics does a thing called they did a thing called Walk-in Wednesday, where if you took a picture of yourself at your comic book shop getting your comics and you posted it on Twitter, they would put you in a drawing and you could win. You could win some neat stuff. So. This was I won this cover from Valiant Comics as a Walk-in Wednesday entry. My daughter, who turns 3 today, my daughter is holding the covers, the comics that we got that week. She's actually bending one of them.
She's 3 years old.
But that's the cover that they sent me in the mail. I still have the packaging that they sent me in the mail, too. I don't want to get rid of the packaging.
I wouldn't either.
So, honorable mention to that. But we have our first match. That's great.
That's awesome. Been waiting for our first match, and I'm glad that it's this one because this is a great cover.
Yeah.
They're all great covers, I just like this one.
I don't have 2 copies of that, though, so I won't be giving you one.
Oh, you can go out and buy me one then. And then we'll have to embarrass you next episode. Yeah, they're all great, but I just really like that one because it's not a very typical type of cover.
So, Nick, did you like this story? Would you recommend this to people?
This is the first one I'm on the fence with, actually. It was so much was going on that I couldn't focus on anything, and there was so much action, and there was a lot of confusion on for me in terms of terminology and what was happening. I was on the fence. Not to say that I didn't like it, because I still enjoyed it. I just enjoyed the other ones a little bit more so far. So I'm on the fence with this one right now. I would like to continue to read up on it to get more out of it, and therefore I'll be able to have a much better opinion on it. But that's where I stand right now.
I am also straddling the fence on this, and even at this exact moment, I don't know how I feel about it. I'll tell you what I like about it, and then I'll tell you what I don't like about it. I love the artwork. I think that the artwork is phenomenal. Patrick Zurcher is the artist, and you can see why when you look at these 4 issues, and he also drew the 5th one, why DC Comics snatched him up, and now he's a DC Comics exclusive artist. His stuff is beautiful. He spends a lot of time on the backgrounds as well. Just great art. I think the writing is pretty solid as well. Justin Jordan wrote it. I have a pretty funny Justin Jordan story. My wife and I met Justin Jordan at New York Comic Con in 2012. He was on the Valiant Comics panel talking about this book. This was before it was released. And when they were wrapping up the panel, all the creators said what booths they were going to be at for signings. And Justin Jordan was the last one. And he said his booth, and he said, "And I'll sign anything." So on the show floor, there was this one booth that was giving away free condoms. So we brought our free condom that we got down to Justin Jordan, and he signed it for us. Treasured artifact in my collection. His I think it's hilarious.
It's Justin approved.
Yeah. That's what he wrote.
Did he?
Yeah, he wrote JJ approved on it. If I can remember, I'll try to post a picture of that on our Twitter.
It's still in its wrapper.
Yes, of course, yes. So yeah, he's a cool guy. I think that it's well written. This is where I'm gonna sound like a stick in the mud, and I don't mean to. Because let me preface it this way: I like the newer version of EXO better than the previous version. I like the newer version of Harbinger better than the previous version. I like the newer version of Archer and Armstrong better than the previous version. I do not like the newer version of Shadowman more than the 1990s version. That character was a lot different. First of all, he didn't wear spandex. I hate spandex on superheroes. I'm just anti-spandex.
Does it remind you of Superman?
Yeah, and Batman. It's stupid. And that his spandex comes out of nowhere drives me a little crazy. The original Shadowman, like I said, he was a jazz musician. And my uncle is a classical pianist. And he was telling me one day, he says, "Oh, Josh, I hate jazz." And I said, "Why do you hate jazz? You like all music." And he says, "Yeah, I hate jazz because I don't know what notes are next." That's how Shadowman fights in the original series. He punches when he should kick. He flips when he should duck. He's the opposite of Archer. He has no fighting style. He's all over the place. He's kind of a cool character in that way. Another thing that I liked about the original Shadowman is that he knew when he was going to die. Through a series of events that maybe I'll explain at another time because it's convoluted in an event called Unity, he learned that he was going to die at a certain date. And so when he fought people, he did stupid things because he knew that he wouldn't be killed. He would jump off of buildings and stuff. It didn't bother him because he knew that was not the date he was going to die. His only powers were that at nighttime he got stronger and he healed faster, and he wore a leather jacket. And I just liked that character more. I thought that character had a lot of depth. I think I just spent like 2 minutes talking about why I like that character. This version of Shadowman to me is boring.
Yeah, I don't know what his powers are either.
Yeah,
other than he turns into Shadowman.
Yeah, and he has no depth. I'm not interested in him. He's boring. I like the dialogue. I like the art. I don't like Shadowman. So I mildly recommend this. It's a good value. It's nice artwork. I hope the series gets better.
You hope? Does that mean that you don't know yet?
I know what happens next, yes.
Okay. You're making me nervous. Like they haven't come out with another Shadowman the last few years.
No, there's 4 volumes. There's 3 volumes out now.
Okay.
I do want to do a further reading because I do like Justin Jordan. I think that he's an awesome author. He did a book for Image called The Strange Talent of Luther Strode. If you want to read the bloodiest comic that you can find, that's it. Every page is just filled with blood. It's pretty awesome.
It's a guy's story, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I like it.
It's a man's story.
Next episode.
What's next? It's not Ninjak.
I'm handing the trade over to you now.
Hey, it's Harbinger!
Harbinger Volume 2.
I was like, is that Harry Potter?
No, that's Chris.
I know it's Chris. The glasses make her look like Harry Potter. Just
Chris, Peter,
and that's Faith.
Faith.
Oh, Faith is looking funny in this one.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this cover necessarily. I just want to say one of our listeners, Mark Rose, up in Nova Scotia, he tweeted me that he's very excited for you to read this volume in particular, because one of the things that he likes about the show is that you are new to this and that you get a fresh perspective. And he said in particular that he couldn't wait for you to read this volume.
I am now really intrigued as to what's to come.
So thanks for the tweet, Mark. And next episode we will be doing Renegades Volume 2 of Harbinger.
I'm really excited for this now because I really like this one. So
you can follow us on Twitter at VE Podcast. Please follow us on Twitter. You can email us at vepodcast@gmail.com. We love emails. Please send them. You can visit our website, WordPress. You can visit our website, vepodcast.wordpress.com. You can find us on iTunes. Please leave us reviews on iTunes. You can find us on Stitcher. Please leave us a review on Stitcher. We're on Stitcher now.
I don't know what that is.
Stitcher is another podcast aggregator for you.
Oh, okay.
It's an app that you can download on your mobile device, whether it's an Android or iPhone. That's the other one, right?
This is an Android.
We both have Androids. I know that. If you subscribe to us on Stitcher and you subscribe to us on iTunes, other people will find the podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.